Greetings. Oh my God.
Greetings.
Finally, we got it worked out. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. I've just eased into the day.
All
Yeah.
right. Awesome. Welcome, everyone, for joining us. I'm Aziza Sacred Wellspring. Some people call me Empress Aziza. Welcome to our live broadcast. And our topic today is Raising Mothers to Rise. And our guest is Akura Dimen. And I'm going to call her Empress because she's so worthy of that title. So today let me give an introduction. And mothers' lives matter. Black women are superheroes. We are surviving in a world that doesn't value us. We are amazing women, creative, self sacrificing, and patient. We are really elevated. With all that we have been through and still go through, we are expected to pick up the pieces and carry on. We don't practice self care. We can't give the world from a cup that is half empty. Self care helps us to fill our cup first and then give up the excess. Our guest today is Akura Dimen, or Empress Akura, who shares her story of how she rose through adversity to find the path of freedom while raising her children and herself. As a mother, she has raised herself up to become a truly strong, stable woman. It is our hope her story can inspire you to continue your journey of self discovery. So, without further ado, let me introduce Empress Akura. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks.
Peace and love and abundant blessing to everyone. I am Empress Akura, Akura Diamond Connect. Akura Diamond Connect, what we do is we are the antecedents to assisting you with any trauma that comes from our lives when we are raising our children, having that support um, when you are, especially a single mother. I'm a single mother. And, I was thankful to have that support in spirit. Not that there wasn't anyone to assist me in that, but it wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
We need extra support sometimes.
Yeah.
But Akura Diamond Connect is there for the help. I am an Akashic life coach, spiritual life coach, and the way that we tap in is the way that it assists us. But I share my point and perceptions of view a
Mm-hmm.
little differently because we come through all different schools of knowledge and thought. So I want to be able to, reach you because we think that because we are of different schools of thought that we cannot connect,
True. True.
you
That's
know.
true. That's true.
Mhm.
So,
So
let me ask you this. As a Kasha spiritual life coach, for those who are watching and listening, exactly what does that entail?
Akashic spiritual life coaching, we get spiritual coaching most of the time throughout our lives. We get it through the church or our religious practices, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get a particular type of counseling or coaching. And that's really almost what coaching is a counseling.
Yeah.
And so, when we go into our Akashic, we go into our life records, our
Mm-hmm.
lifetime records, and how spirit wants to indulge us in that information, how we can handle it so that we can get to our next level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everyone don't get the same thing, and you're not going to get the same thing from every reader because there are different Akashic readers out there that we know, and everyone don't engage in the technique the same way.
Yeah.
Um, but You go into your life records and you have your spiritual guides, your ancestors. They are both spiritual and natural, elemental, and they come forward to the person that is receiving the reading, that is trusting them with that information. So they receive that information via that person, and then they may have to go and research and do some searching in their life records with their ancestors and their family members of living to understand what is going on from the
Mhm.
other realm when the
Mhm.
ancestors go up there have transition. So that's how I have overstood it to be, and it helps us get through our paths, helps us get to that next level. We may not know why we are going through particular things and cycles in our lives, and that answer may be in our Akashic records. We may
Mhm.
not understand why we're not having children or why we can't have children, and why
Mhm.
it's taking so long for us to meet our divine partner. That answer can lie very much in our Akashic records. So, getting that information is a tool so that we can press forward. So, the Akashic records for me is a tool. It's a tool to help press and push one forward into their next level, into the next phase of their life in a sacred space with support.
Mhm. Mm. Mm. I agree. Let me take the momentum back a moment. Let me ask you this. What was something that you've always wanted to do but didn't, and why didn't you? Something that you've
Hmm.
always wanted to do.
Always wanted to do. Okay. I've always wanted to take a trip overseas, and I have not because because my mother, when I was about 18 years old, we have those senior trips, and everyone goes on a cruise. Well, mommy, I want to go on this cruise. Everybody's going to this place. Let's go. I got a bunch of my friends going. And she was like, do you know what's going on? Are you going over all of that water? I can't swim over there to get you. I don't know how to swim. If something happens, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, but I'm going to be with the rest of my friends. So all of us are going to be out. It was like a big no. I mean, that thought went downhill very quick because I'm like, okay, what if something does happen? And I'm over here in this big boat in the middle of this sea, you know, and then we have, and where are you going? And you got do you have to, because she had this thing, the Bermuda Triangle. Do you have to cross the Bermuda Triangle to get there? Those people are never found. Mommy, it's the first time everything I feel like, because I'm going, we're not going to get swallowed up, okay? So, that was one, yeah. Going overseas over a large body of water that's one thing I have not done and always wanted to do, is to travel across the water, but it's
Mm. Ah. But maybe you'll get to do it to coming to Barbados, right? Maybe, just
that's
maybe.
right.
But growing up, what did you think you wanted to do for a living? Because I know you are into the Akashic records. You're a coach in that area. But what did you really want to do? Because Akasha is something that we are now learning about and we're now
Mhm.
tapping into. But what did you really want to do before you discovered the Akasha?
Wow. And that was years later. I wanted and still desire to be a singer. I su-
Ooh.
I my mother was a singer. I was in a gospel band, if you will, quartet group for many years, because
Mhm.
that's what she did. She quartet gospel singer, her and my dad. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to sing So uh, I began to write first. So poetry was my first love. And I
Mm.
didn't put the two together that poetry and songs were the same. I learned that later. My mother was also a writer, so I would catch her many mornings sitting, with her coffee and her pen and her tablet writing. And
Mm.
she would hum her little tune and um, and she would sing and she was like, okay, I gotta get my band together. I gotta get a group together. I gotta find me a guitar player. And all of this and then, you know, and then there you have it. You find them and then okay, we're gonna have practice at and I remember people coming in to practice, but at the very young age, I don't remember my mother singing a lot. I just remember her writing. When I got older, about between like 7 and 10, that's when I saw the group and I experienced, her doing the different shows and stage presence and things like that. So singing is my first love. My
Oh my
first.
goodness. You mentioned your mom within the last 5 minutes of talking. You mentioned your mom quite a bit. So it seemed like she was your hero. And that was going to be my next question. Mom being your hero. So, what did you? I was going to ask you who you looked up to, but it was seeing your mom when you were younger. Who do you look up to now?
Oh wow. Uh,
Mhm.
a person, an elder, or figure. Does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Hmm. I would still have to say my mom and my aunt. Um, my aunt too.
Mm, mm,
Um, I'm gonna give all of them the floor right now. All of my aunts. There were four sisters and one sister-in-law. So all of them were very important in my life in different phases of my life.
mm,
Um, Seeing what they experienced and how they experienced. But my mother and um, the queen of them all would be my grandmother.
oh, wow.
She she was she was very gentle. Like she was gentle with everyone. Her her
Mm,
her sons, her daughters, her grandchildren. She was the same way.
mm,
Um, Before she transitioned, there was just a lot of gathering,
mhm,
around her, and no one ever could take that place,
mm. Yeah, Big Mama,
right?
Big Mama. I can see you tearing up just talking about her.
Mm.
Um, if you wanted to share a little more, that's up to you. But I won't press you because I can see the memory is very real. Um, just thinking about her. So you're pulling that energy from the Akasha into you. And that's a wonderful thing because that's what they're there to do, to send us that energy and that joy in this realm so that we can continue the purpose, ready to help Earth as she evolves. So I won't press you, right? So I'm gonna
Right.
keep, except you want to.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't mind. I really truly don't mind. I don't mind sharing her because I learned quite a deal from the short time. And I was very young. So I did not get to experience her in my teenage life. I got her um like elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
middle school, right into middle school. My grandmother, she transitioned. But um I remember seeing how she held things together
Mm-hmm.
um when she could have just really let it all go. But Big
Mm-hmm.
Mama, my grandmother, she um and the interesting thing is I never heard anyone call her Big Mama. They would just call her Grandma Stella. They just call her Grandma Stella or Grandmama. And um and My mother and she was very close. They had a very different relationship I could gather, you know, amongst any of the other siblings. I guess I would guess because my mother was the youngest girl. Not really sure, but my mother was one who spoke her mind all the time. Like if she saw it and it did not gel with her, she spoke on it, and she was the one that spoke on all issues that were not right. If they were not right, she did not sugarcoat, and she did not just let it be mess. So my grandmother, she taught all of her children music from an organ.
Mm.
She taught them how to play guitar. She taught them how to hold their notes and all of that. And I never heard her sing. I still don't know today if she
Wow.
can. Pardon me. Um, excuse me.
Let's see you all. She'll be right back. Thank you so much for coming in and being a part of this broadcast, spending an hour with us. If there's any questions that you would like to ask, you can post them in the comment section, and I'll definitely get them to our guests, and she can see them too. So, yeah, fire away, fire away. I hope you guys are having a really wonderful Saturday. Zion's daughter is going to join us shortly. So, any questions, we're here to answer. Go ahead, Queen.
Pardon me, my son they just came in. Okay. So yes. So I never heard her sing, but she did teach all of her children, and it trickled down to most of her grandchildren because I am one of the first grandchildren, but she had grandchildren and great grandchildren that were all raised up in the same age brackets,
Okay.
some things like that. But most of the nieces or sisters and nieces were in the same age where they all sang together. So
Mm.
that was, and they had this camaraderie with them and my grandfather and stuff. But as we all do, there was some trauma in there as well.
Mm.
There was some
Mm.
trauma there, which is why she had to hold it all together, which is why
Mm.
she treated everyone with love amongst the children, the way that she could. And you know, later on she transitioned from cancer in the jaw. And
Mm.
you know, uh that was that was just it. But she was loved amongst all her children, and everyone who knew her, they loved her. They had a special place, for her. Um,
Mhm.
so big mamas, they do it. They have a different kind of medicine.
They sure do. I never had the privilege of meeting my grandmother, but I would hear my mother tell of the stories of her, that she was very strict, but was also very kind. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't have a memory, unfortunately, and that's something that I've always wanted, because I would hear friends talk about their grandmothers, and I would just imagine, having that. So yeah. So I'm going to take the turn to, is there a moment or event that radically changed the way you saw the world? So we're going to get into the meat of it.
Mm. There were a lot of moments that changed
Ooh.
the world. A lot of moments. Am I going from the most recent or how?
Oh, work it out, girl. Work it out.
Mm, wow. Well, my first indication, I want to say, was as a little girl. I knew definitely that there was something else besides us. that was in the world, right?
Mm.
Um, I presently reside in the South, but I was born in the North, so I'm
Mm.
really a northerner with Southern upbringing. um, so um, what I experienced there was I realized how playing as a little girl, we would have neighbors. There was neighbors we knew. There were neighbors on the opposite side that we didn't know. And we could have things that would go on in our neighborhood and really not be connected in that. But if you had the neighbor on the left that you or across the street that you were familiar with, they would watch your house and you would watch theirs. Neighborhood watch, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And and then there were um episodes where the people in the backside of us would know us and watch us, but we wouldn't know anything about them. And then things would happen. So that was one of the indications as a little girl because I never saw, color difference or treatment difference. But in school, I saw that and it angered me. I never liked anyone to be picked on, and I didn't like to be picked on. And I would always fight for my friends or who I thought was
Mm.
right. So when I get older and we move to the South, the difference I saw in the North is that people will tell you exactly, or they would tell you more upfront with how they feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
In the Northern, they would not do that. I mean, in the Southern, they will pencil whip you. They would put everything down in on paper, but they would tell you in your face you're doing a wonderful job. But if they could mess you up on paper, they would do that. So that was one of the incidents that changed my life because I realized there was a very big difference in between uh not only just all out blatant racism. Now when I was in high school, I didn't have a work study job. I'm to have a work study job in order to pass this course. Well, they said, well, you can get into the job, get into this place and get your work study. And then you can, you can leave half a day and go to your job. Well, there were only two girls and two melanated girls in that classroom. That was me and my best friend, and both of us did very well in school. And we had a job and got a summer job or what have you. It took me a little longer because my counselor at that time helped me to get a job.
Mm.
And because I did not have that job at that time when I was supposed to, this particular instructor had put zeros in the grade book, not on the work that I was completing, because the work that I was completing, I had A's on, but I'm thinking that they have been documented and they have not been documented. So long story short, it all of my grades were good and I'm thinking, okay, so I got everything good. And I'm the first one of the first melanated sisters in the community of where I lived in Florida at the time to run for a young woman of the year. And it was not a big grand scholarship, but it was monumental in my life. And it was something that I wanted to do for me and my mother, uh, me representing her, me representing myself. And at the time, we stayed in the projects. We lived there. Me representing myself. And
Mm-hmm.
and so when that happened, and I go up and everything is complete in this particular this particular contest, if you will, Um, Everything was good except when they looked at all of my grades, there was one class that did not make it, and it put a halt to me receiving that particular scholarship that year. So that particular scholarship that I totally qualified for, I didn't get it because of one class. So we're talking about the difference in mothers and racism and things like that, and things that change our lives. So that was a different perspective. Then I saw that you know, I had to do things a little bit differently because the I had so much to happen leading up to that moment that gave me an anxiety where I would break out in hives. And so my mother said, "Your health is better than any job." My instructor, that had nothing to do with me getting that job, was calling my boss, hounding them about me, and my boss was pleased with my work.
Mm.
Right. So I had an anxiety to build up. So that was
Mm.
one of the first changes to set in.
Wow.
Later, yeah, so later on, you know, my second challenge come years later, and this is when life begins to turn. So I have graduated now, and I am trying to find out where I'm headed.
Mm.
There is something within me that's like, I know there's more,
Mm-hmm.
but where is it? So I would go and sit in the library and have a pile of books of everything that I thought could give me the answer.
Mm.
And I would sit there and I would read and I would read, and I'm like, no, this is not it. This is not it. That's not it. My mother didn't have the answers for me.
Mm.
I had went through my phases and just been praying and praying and asking God, and I was like, he's supposed to have the answer. I need some more clarity. Like,
Mm.
no, Mama. And so my mother would say, "Why is she going from place to place?" She said, "She's just trying to find herself." I know that's what you're doing. You're trying to find yourself. Well,
Mm.
Mama, how do I find myself? You'll know it when it comes. You'll know it when it happens.
Yeah.
But I'm here.
Mm.
She didn't have the answers, but she was there for my hugs. She was there for my guidance. She was there to be of solace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, in my meditation, I found this book that says, "Heal Thyself." And within this book, it was a self meditation and almost a self hypnosis as well. I was like, well, I'm gonna hypnotize myself into whatever I need to know.
Mm.
I'm gonna do that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And
Yeah.
so I went through that phase and began to give myself affirmations because there were affirmations in there. I am healed, I am calm, I am fulfilled,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I just kept that. And then I went to a whole nother thought path. And that was when I became introduced to Dr. York.
Mm.
So,
Oh.
and this is all me finding myself and being connected to music because there were music people in Dr. York at that time that introduced me to Dr. York. And I remember walking into the home and there was these pictures on the wall, these giant posters, and I'm like, why do they have these pictures on this wall like this? And they were just giant. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
looking around, I'm just turning around in circles, just looking. I'm like, this, and who is this? I'm like, this must be Jesus. Because, he said he's black. I mean, he's got melanin and brown eyes and his hair like
Mm-hmm.
wool. I'm like, this has got to be him. You know what I mean? And where they get the picture from? Because I got to have one of these, you know? So I'm like, And it was like, no, it's Melchizedek.
Mm-hmm.
And so that journey began for me.
Tell us
And
about that journey. Tell us about that journey, because that was my next question to lead into that before Zion's daughter comes on.
okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, the connection was music, but the um the place that led me there was, you know, the pictures which started the conversation. And I said, well, there was brothers and sisters that were living in a home, um as a community, in a communal setting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was different, and there was this peace, the energy was really peaceful. And you come in, you take your shoes off at the door, all of this kind of beautiful stuff that was going on. And we would come in. The greeting at the time was shalom. And so I got some of the study material and began to break it down. And one of my first books was, oh my goodness, it was about living healthy. It had to do with living healthy and clean. Purity and Neatness was the name of the book. Purity and Neatness. And I would always hear my mother say, cleanliness is letting next to godliness. So I've never been one of those, people that didn't keep it clean in order. But we have our days.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, it was in order. And so in Purity and Neatness, you made sure you showered a certain way. Women's had a certain kind of health, and hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
And you had the days that we had the days that we fasted, or we all fasted together communally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and then we had a day that we would get together and we would break bread, which means, we've been studying, and we would bring our questions, what we had, and discuss our questions, the questions that we had, which one of us in the community living, or those of us that were all fellow Nuwabians would discuss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we would begin to engage and open up that consciousness and that knowledge. But the discipline about that is when you follow the discipline, it made you disciplined, you know,
Mm.
life. So it gave us something that we were not, well, it gave me something that I was not used to, because in being reared, in a Baptist Christian background,
Yeah.
um, with that, I was just taught to go, and we went, and it was the same thing. There was nothing different. And I had heard my mother say, "I'm tired of going to church and just coming back with the same old humdrum, humdrum, humdrum." There's nothing different. There's nothing exciting. What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I still? It's just formality.
Mm.
And I'm like, I see her come home like that. I know I don't want that. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I don't want to come home and be angry.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so that's what I got from being
Mm-hmm.
Nuwapu was Nuwabian, and Nuwapu was, a discipline and
Mm-hmm.
a dissecting of what I had already been taught.
Okay.
Because the dissecting, it would be, don't believe me. Our master teacher would say, don't believe me, check it out for yourself.
Yep.
And I'm going to go and research until I can't find any other ways to flip what it is I got a question about. So
That's true.
that was just monumental in my life. And I kept that
Mm-hmm.
discipline. So everything that I would read, I would dissect.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a point in time after things happened in New Wabian community. I went back to church, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the same. It was
Mm.
never
But the
the same.
same. Yeah.
Mm-mm. And so
Wow.
those questions that I would have, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times the pastors would not even, they would almost shun me,
Mm.
because I'm not here to just question you, but I'm here to make you think as well.
I like that.
You know, so yeah,
So it sounds like the Nawapian um, on Dr. Malika York helped you to find your peace. That's what it
definitely,
sounds like to me. Because
definitely.
I'm taking in everything you're saying to me. So that's why I'm a little delayed. I just want to absorb you and be in that this present moment with you. So my next question, I'm gonna ask you after I introduce Zion's daughter to you. Um, Zion's daughter, wherever you are, come on in, girl. We are waiting for you.
Here I am.
Hi, peace and love.
Hi there, Akura.
You're
I can
not
only
fully
see
on
half of
camera, Zion's daughter. You're half.
you.
We seeing half of you.
I don't understand why. Is that better? I can
Yes,
see my
much
full face.
better,
I can
much
see that.
better.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm introducing you to Akura, Empress Akura. This is Zion's daughter. Y'all meeting for the first time. So Zion's daughter is going to introduce to you something we are testing now. It's called rapid fire. This is an unusual talk shop, okay? This is rapid fire. So take it away, Zion's daughter.
Well, hi there, Akura. Thank you, Empress Aziza. It's nice to finally chat with you. I've been watching and listening attentively as you talk about your past, talk about um, your move, and talk about your movement. One of the things I identified with, I am a West Indian, I'm a Caribbean person. And as you talk about living in the South with your neighbors, that is a very Caribbean thing. That's very Bajan where I live. I grew up with that. I grew up with can't walk through the neighborhood unless all the old folks do and they already have called home or sent home a message. Everybody knows who came at your house and at what time. So I identified with that. So it seems as if no matter where we were dispersed in the diaspora, that cultural link we still had.
Hmm.
And
Mm.
since you were questioning yourself and questioning a lot of your movement and a lot of the things that have shaped you into today, I prepared a number of questions for you. Now, these questions are going to take in a rapid fire method, and you have like a 10-second window to answer them. They're deep philosophical questions, but and they're here to make you think, explore who you are, and let's just have some fun with it. So if you're ready, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, what do you think of yourself as a mother?
Oh, I did it. I made it through, and I did it
Mm,
good. Hmm.
that's good. That's good. Do you think you will be a mother in another life if you're given a chance to return?
Most definitely.
Mhm.
Most definitely.
Now, what is your beauty or well-being routine?
What is my beauty or well-being routine? Is that what you said? I heard something cut out.
Yes. What is your beauty or well-being routine?
Oh, mm. Yeah, I have some facets to that, but I like facials and massages and long baths,
Ah,
rose water in my coffees and tea. Um,
okay. Now, tell me something. If you are tired, do you stop or do you keep going?
I've learned to stop and take a rest.
Mm.
That's good. That's good. Do you have selfish moments? And if you do you ever feel guilty about it?
Yes, I have selfish moments, and I no longer feel guilty about those selfish moments.
You
Mm.
shouldn't. You shouldn't. What's your favorite guilty pleasure, non-healthy food?
Raspberry dark chocolate.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. Let's go. Keep going. It's morning time. What's the first thing you're gonna do?
I'm going to breathe before I get up out of my bed, and I'm going to sit. I'm going to lay there and ask, okay, how do I
Do
need to
I
start
want to
my
do
day?
this?
Right. How do I start my day? Which way do I go?
Nothing wrong with that. Uh, what is the last thing you do before you go to bed?
Mm. The last thing I do before I go to bed usually is hug my sons and tell them good night and I love them. Sleep well, rest well.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
Now, wine, if yes, red, white, rosé, chardonnay, a pinot grigio, sauvignon blanc, which one?
Mm.
All of those I've had. All of those, all of those I like.
I like a pinot grigio. That's the truth.
Okay, rosé is good. Pinot Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon blanc. Yeah,
Yes.
yes. Did name
Um,
wine, right? So let's do
yes.
it.
Yes.
Okay. You have a lot of tasks. Do you ever delegate? And if you don't, why not?
Mm. Usually I don't delegate because I don't have anyone to delegate to. So what I do, I delegate myself at a different time. So I try to give myself a schedule to do those tasks so that I can
Oh,
complete them.
okay.
That's what I've
Now,
learned to do.
good. Now, if you have some person with you, your husband, your boyfriend, your partner, they're now home. Do you step back or do you still keep going?
Keep on in
Uh-huh.
what?
You just keep going. You don't stop. You're like, they're home, but it's not stopping me from doing what I have to do. I'm not delegating anything. They're home, but I'm not stepping back with the kids. I'm not stepping back with anything,
Mm.
even though they're home.
Oh, you mean like stop what I'm doing
Hmm.
to
To just
Oh, this
let
is
them take over.
no. If you caught that, that's why I had to mute my mic and make sure that I put them in check before I got back on my mic.
Yes, I
And
did.
I said
I did
something
catch
that
that. I
really
did saw that. I saw that. Yes.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm not
Okay.
stepping anymore.
Okay. So, do you wear multiple responsible hats? Now, multiple responsible hats is mother, daughter, granddaughter, church officiant, group officiant, soccer mom. How many responsible hats do you wear?
Right now, I'm just mom, business mom. Home take care of home mom. I'm no longer church mom, soccer
Mhm.
mom, or any of that church business mom. I'm no longer that. I did that for a while and it robbed me of time with my children because it
I
was so
feel you.
much. So
I feel you.
mhm,
Yeah. I
mhm,
understand that. I totally understand that because I did
mhm,
that in my 20s and the better part of my, what they would say, an older
mhm.
woman told me that I am at the prime of my life and I'm spending it all in church. Um,
Mm.
Now, meal prep, or are you winging it today?
I'm not winging it today. I did meal prep and I've already did my field for today, so I'm good. Everything is just water and teas for the rest of the evening. So I meal
Mhm.
prep
Okay,
today. Hmm.
now this one is
Cool.
going to get a little personal. When was your last mammogram? Have you been taking care of yourself where all your feminine health checkups are concerned?
Oh, well, I am a bit behind on that. I have been doing really well on that for, I think your mammogram is every other year or something
Mhm.
to that
Once you're
measure.
over 40,
Hmm. And so I have not been in the last maybe 2 years. So it is time for
Yes, and it's at this point I'm going to encourage all of us natural women to go out and have your mammograms done, have your pap smears done, go get your gynecological checks. These are things that, as natural women, we cannot leave to chance. We can't leave to the ether. We have to take care of ourselves while we are in the natural. Hobbies, Akira, do you have them? How many of them and what are they?
Hobbies. Hobbies. Okay. Yes. Um, I love I love to write poetry. I like to sing. My other hobby would be wire wrapping.
Oh,
Mm.
Uh, I do that from time to time,
do
and
you make
just
jewelry when you do your wire wrapping?
yes, I do. Or I'll take a piece and I'll make it new. Add or take away, and do some little things, some colors and things like that.
I like
Um,
that.
and I do so with clothing as well. So
Oh, nice.
um, that's about it when it comes to hobbies. Yes.
Okay. Well, I have four more questions and then I'm done. And interestingly, it's about jewelry. So you've bought something for you. It's just for you. A jewelry, it's an accessory. When is the last time, not make it, when is the last time that you've treated yourself to a piece of jewelry or an accessory for your car or a wonderful piece for your home?
Uh, okay. A wonderful piece for my home, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, so behind me, I have been creating this media room for a while.
Mm,
So I just added some pieces in this room
mm-hmm.
uh this week. So that's one thing I can say. I've done that. When
Very
it comes
good.
to buying a piece of jewelry for myself or accessory for myself, that I have not done in a while, but this is good.
This is good. And I want to encourage our women, take, do something for yourself. Buy a piece for yourself or make a piece for yourself. Piece of jewelry, piece of clothing that is special and unique. Okay. Now it's weekend. Is there music in the house or do you like it quiet?
Oh my goodness. If there are some people on this live that has caught me in the middle of some music, and I've had to turn it down a little bit because it was kind of bumping in the black background. Sister Aziza,
Okay.
I think you caught me on one of those, Empress Aziza. But I love music. I love music. Yeah.
I do too. As long as it is Saturday morning and especially on a Sunday, I am going to have loads of music playing, a different genre every Sunday if possible. Last
Mm.
Sunday, I was listening to some Ethiopian music and I happened upon two artists I love, Teddy Afro and this gentleman by the name of Raffia. Oh my, I loved it. Loved it. And two last questions. Um, Time management. How well do you do it?
How well do I do it? I am in process of doing better.
Doing better.
Yes, I am in process of doing better, and really just making the best of all of my time and getting my rest because I'm still deprogramming from the 9 to 5 in 2019. So it's been a lot, but it's been good.
Okay. And the very last question I'm going to place to Akura and maybe the others who are listening. You can answer this as well. Friends have come a calling. What do you do? They've just shown up like I do when I just turn up at Empress Aziza's house. What do you do? I see the
You
head
probably
nodding,
get
but
you
no.
probably get that face I just gave the camera. You probably get that face right there because uh you're not just gonna show up to my house just unannounced. Like
Oh,
you
there.
don't know, you don't know what's popping at my house. But you know what I mean. You let me know, and I'm gonna have the red carpet laid out for you if I know you coming. But just pop
We
in.
are definitely very much alike because in Barbados, you do not show up to someone's house at all without advance notice. We
I'm,
take high offense to it. I would show up at Empress House, but I don't turn up because the structure of our living is a little different. Where she lives and where we live, most of our houses are near to the road. Yeah, so you will have the road right here, and our houses are right there. So you just stay outside and blow your horn, and the person is going to look through the window. Wait, hi, how are you? But it doesn't mean come into your house. It just do the. I was just in the neighborhood and said I can stop by and say hello, but it does not mean an invitation into your house. That's just a cultural thing I wanted to share
Yeah,
with you.
I
But
keep she outside.
yeah, it's gonna be like, oh, we do that. You're like, wait, who's that out there? Some
What's
person
that
is
out
out
there?
there. Wait, hi,
Yeah,
how you
it's not
doing?
you.
I just passing by. But it doesn't mean you're coming in the house. It does not mean that at all. But but thank you for sharing that rapid fire moment with me. I am going to come off camera and let Empress Aziza finish up. But is there anything you would like to ask me?
um yes. How do you do it so gracefully on camera? You're just so beautiful on
She is,
camera.
isn't she?
You just do it so gracefully, man.
Thank you. Empress Aziza tells me that I have the gift of the gab, I suppose, but I am coming into myself where Sacred Warrior Mothers is concerned. And I was telling Empress Aziza literally minutes before we started the show that I've been doing some work on TikTok way before we started um, Sacred Warrior Mothers. And so I guess that was the shadow work I needed to do in order to sit here and be comfortable. But this is not easy for me because I would rather people not know who I am. I would rather stay in the background. I would rather hide. I I really am not very comfortable with people knowing me. Not getting to know me, but knowing that there's a Zion's daughter that exists. So
Well,
this is taking a lot out of me.
is it
Believe
now?
me.
Do
Yes, it is.
okay. So side note.
Mm-hmm.
Side note is this has been a big push for me. But because Empress Aziza is so very elegant and graceful in how she approaches and tells you, okay, so we're gonna do this, and this is what's gonna go down. What date do you have?
Is that what she did with you? Oh my
Okay,
God.
okay, and there's no backing up out of there. There's no backing up.
Oh.
But that is a divine nudge because it's like, uh, get your ass in gear, ass in chair in front of your computer on StreamYard. You gonna do it just in chair, okay? This what you're gonna do. Period.
Y'all put me on blast just like that.
Well,
Period. This
you
is what
see,
you do. So in reflection, Zion's daughter. In reflection, I get that.
yeah.
Okay. because I'd rather stay behind the scenes too. I was one of those lay members in the church. I could pray all day. I could pray you into healing and still can pray you into healing and pray you into deliverance. And right now, they would never have to know who Sister
I
Akura
am telling
Diamond
you,
is.
I am telling you, I would rather not be in, because, but then one of the things that I've come to appreciate about the tomorrow is that this is an Akashic record that we are creating. When we come, when we share our lives with social media, not just this, but social media, period, we are creating Akashic records. And shouldn't we create Akashic records that the future can look at and grab from it some hope, some semblance of teaching, some words of wisdom, some sort of guidance. So I think that if we're going to come in front of the camera and we are going to share ourselves, we should share ourselves in a way that will impact others. But um, they're women of beauty. Let them show their beauty. They're women with curvaceous figures. Let them show their curvaceous figures. But out of the abundance of our hearts, when our mouths speak, it should be edificacious. It should impact those who are listening. It should shape and mold the future. Your beauty, the shape of your body is a vessel to carry that message, but your mouth should come out words. So as someone who's in their 50s, I am not going to be showing my body. Right? Right? But I believe that if I'm going to be at this juncture of my life, I ought to be doing it in a way to change others and help others the way someone helped me.
Ashe, praise be, divine and
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. That
Beautiful,
right there,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah, that
Well
speaks
said.
volumes.
Well said. But y'all don't get off easy for putting me out there, Listen, we are a soul family. We agreed to do this millennia ago. We agreed to be here for this moment to do this thing. And people think your soul family is just a family that you are incarnated into. That soul family is wide, it's a wide net. And we agreed to be here for this moment to elevate each other, to share this wisdom. And it's only going to get better from here on out, to share this positive light that we need. I would rather be in the background, but I said to Mother, Divine Mother, I'm going to do what you bid me to do. And even coming on here, I get nervous before I come on because like I said, I'd rather hide. But I know our people needs us. The women, we must rise up at this juncture, to rebalance everything, because Earth, our sister, she's our sister. She needs us. She needs us at this juncture to send her that energy so that she can continue on her path. And when she continues on that path, we benefit too. So it's a win-win for everybody, you know? So if I gonna have to hit y'all over the head with the club of wisdom and knowledge, I gonna do it. So y'all not be ducking, okay? If I have to hit y'all over the head, I'm gonna do it. We in this together. We in this business together. And I hope people from around the world see us and say, I want to be a part of what I'm doing. A Sacred Warrior Mothers is a movement, The Ascension group that Akura is a part of, and Sister Latoya, is nothing short of amazing. We're doing the work on different levels and in different places, but it's all towards the one common goal, is to be that balance, that hierogamic principle, to rebalance our brothers, to rebalance our families as we move forward in this fifth dimension energy. you know? So, one question before you go, Kura. Don't leave Zion's daughter. What is next on your journey? What is next? And then we will ask people in the audience if they want to ask a question or two.
What
What's
is
next
next
on
on
your
my
journey?
journey?
Yeah.
Oh wow, there's a lot of things on my plate right now, but what is next on my journey will be opening up through a Core Diamond Connect, as well as I'm working on a particular house with the doulas. So that's a part of
Mm,
my journey as well. So to connect all around the world,
yeah.
without doulas and formulate this housing and this network. Because, when we think about our prominent women and historical women, they
Hmm.
had a network. So you
Yeah.
can kind of call us like a galactical or a spiritual um, um, movement, a
Hmm.
spiritual railroad, if you want to say underground railroad, but on a spiritual sense. Okay,
Hmm.
that's the kind of network we have to make this movement, because not
Yeah.
only do we have to have people set up everywhere, and there has to be a protection, you know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's deeper than that, but we got to have somebody for everything, and we're out here, you
Yes.
know, we're out here.
Yeah.
So as we are doing our own individual work and calling in our help, we're calling in those that need to come into the fold, you know.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
our intercedents. This is an intercedents for those who wouldn't normally, quote unquote, listen to a church sermon. They'll listen to this and get what they need. We're,
Mm.
we're the
Yeah.
intercedents.
Yeah.
Okay? We're the
Yeah.
ones that intercede. So, that's what Reiki is, a intercedence for those who, well, I know I need healing, you know what I mean? But I don't want to tell everybody my business. Just lay your hands. What you call it? Okay, I'll go for it. That you got people like that. Okay, Ricky, I take it. you know. So we just do that. And but because we are those people that care, we know how to still do that Reiki and care and put into them and pull out of them what needs to be put there, what needs to be taken out, because
Yeah.
we those kind of warriors and the shamans, and we already rolled up into one.
Yeah.
That's why we have all these multifacets. I think they should have, the M for mother should be multi hats,
Mm.
multiplicity, you know,
Yeah.
because we're the nurse, we're the counselor, we're the homemaker, we're the hymn fixers, the lunch makers, the doctors, we the CEOs, we got all of that. And in between
Hmm.
that, we're covering our children, we're covering our mates, we're making sure the road is open in that home, and the road,
Hmm.
we don't have all of these people. I'm gonna make this real quick. When my children were going to school, I would get attacked through my children a lot, like
Mm.
attacked through my children. If you wanted to get me and get the wrong side of me, or get me and get my attention, was to mess with my children.
Mm.
But when you get them and you mess with them on a spiritual level, you got me in a whole nother. You got a whole nother side of me,
Hmm.
Different.
right? So then now, you know, now I got to get you on all these sides, So my children would be attacked a lot, and so I was constantly in a constant warfare, because it was really meant for me, not for my children. But my children was the target of my attack. So I had to cover them constantly before they would go to school in the morning, and at night, and sometimes, they wouldn't even know I was up, praying and interceding and affirming, because the creator is so divine that he would close their ears and still allow them to sleep, and I'll be sounding off like a siren in my home. So that's what we do. But now we gonna put that siren out now. We gonna sound that alarm, and that song gonna be so sweet that the ones who need to hear that song gonna wake up, and the ones who need to go to sleep gonna be put out. They gonna go where they need to go. But anyway, I'm off that soapbox.
Okay. We have a question from Summer. She says, what is a question that you have now that you wish you had answered to? And what recommendations would you give to someone who is new to this journey? Wow.
The first question, what
What is
is
a question that you have now that you wish you had answered to?
mm, uh, that I wish I had an answer to? um, I really don't know what that question is, but I could say like why it took so long for
Mm-hmm.
us to get right here.
Mm. Okay.
I can
My
answer that.
I'm sure we about have an idea now. But go
Yeah.
ahead and answer that, sister. Go ahead,
Yeah. Right.
Zion's daughter.
I
Get
would,
in there.
in order to answer that, I have to give you a backstory. I was in a meeting at work just yesterday, and we were talking about finances. And the person doing the presentation, they said, "Well, I wish you knew um, this information about saving and about money and stuff like that. Because if you thought about it, look at how much money you could have saved over time." And I answered her the following. I said, "No, I am supposed to learn what I know now for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I couldn't have known it yesterday because it would not have made a difference. I wasn't ready to learn it. The information is here now for me tomorrow."
Mm.
Ashe. Makes sense. Okay, so that
Mm.
question is yeah, I think that answers it.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
the second part of the question is, what recommendations would you give to someone who is new to this journey?
Mm. My recommendation would be to take your time.
Mm-hmm.
To take your time, don't rush it, release it and let it
Mm-hmm.
go
Yep.
as you're going through, but take your time.
Yeah.
Um Tap in to the resources that are available to you
Mm-hmm.
because those even those resources are free to you, they are the most usable and most beneficial tools.
Yep.
Um, just like the Ho'oponopono, I used that for many years. Just like pouring the libations out to your ancestors, I did that for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Just calling on the names. I didn't have the understanding that I have now about my ancestors, about me just pouring out libations. But I knew I had an issue that when I went out and I poured and I called their names, that they were going to come and help me. They were going to come and assist me
Mm.
just because I called and I asked. The same way you called and you asked when you're praying or affirming, oh creator or divine or most
Mm-hmm.
high, I need your help. Oh creator or divine or ancestors, I need your help. And I'm about to call all of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel, Michael, Grandma Stella, Sekhmet, Hotep, Hotep, Pharaoh. I'm
That's
calling all
right.
of y'all. I need all of y'all to line up. All of y'all that are lined up for me, that are my guardians, my gatekeepers, my ancestral, spiritual, natural, elemental, deity. I need you. Come through for me. Come through for my children.
Yep.
Watch out for me. Watch out for my children as we're on this journey. I don't know it all, but I know that. So walk me through until I get somewhere else. And then when I get to that next step, take me there, push me forward with the next set of instructions.
Mm.
I'm gonna apply those to my next step. But what I got on this step, I read somewhere and say you have just enough light for the step you on.
Mm.
Just enough. You got just enough light for the step you on. So when you make that next step, that a light gonna shine on that next step, and you're gonna see what you need to do on the next step, and it's gonna go further and further and further. Right? So you're gonna be the change you wish to see because you're changing, and you wish to see that change in yourself. That's how the change happens inside out, and then it permeates. It draws to you what you need, and then next thing you know, you ain't even you don't even remember this. You're live right here when
Mm.
you ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Mm-hmm.
go back and say, I asked that question, and then it becomes something else. And then you are on a live like this, giving someone else your journey steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how easy it is when
Yeah.
we take our time. But when we rush it,
Mm-hmm.
we rush ourselves into some things that we're not ready for because we didn't get that wisdom while we were going
Exactly.
through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Can
always
I
tell
add?
people take I always tell people take their time. I'm working with a young lady now, and um she's anxious. She says she awoke up in 2008, and you know she's anxious to get the information, and I said to her, take your time. I says everything will come to you in the time it's supposed to come to you. The information is there. It's already within you. You just have to now open up some portals within to allow it to flow out. But if you rush it, you're thinking it's outside of you. It's actually inside of you. And if you rush it, you're going to miss the most important lessons. And then you got to come back to it. So take your time, let it flow in, be a part of nature, let that flow into you and let it flow out from you and see what the universe is giving you. Don't try. Mother already knows. You've
I
already
see.
made the contract to awaken at
Mhm.
a certain time to do a certain thing. Let it happen. All the knowledge you want is already there. Everything is already there. We're just guides. I'm just a guide to give you a little bit more, a little bit push here, a little
Mhm.
bit push there. But when you rush it, it's going to become confusing. And then you think you got it. And then somebody else comes, you say, but damn, I don't got it. And then you recognize, hey, wait a minute here. Let me just pull back and let it flow through. And when you tap into that self within, man, there's a flood coming in. And you like,
Mhm.
wait a minute. Oh Lord, I asked for it. I didn't expect all of this. Just let it be. Just let it be. And you got a sacred warrior mothers is a good place to be because we've been posting lots. I post a lot of information in there about the cosmos.
Mhm.
And the reason I'm posting that is Divine Mother says it is time because we coming through that first phase. It is time. This is 4 phases in this year that the portals open. It is time. They have to know where they are from the cosmos so that the healing from the soul family in the cosmos can now come through because that energy is going to come through. That's going to speed up that healing. Those intergenerational curses are going to start to molt away. And then when you start to recognize, damn, I'm having these dreams, or I had this vision of my soul family, or this person visiting me, or this, I went to this planet. You will start to really accept it because now they're reaching out. Yeah. So that's why I post that information to give you the understanding. Healing is not just on this level, the healing is also coming in from the cosmos as well.
Ashe. And do journal. Journal your dreams, journal your moods and things that you're going through, when you have those divine encounters and you have a conversation with a stranger that you never met and they confirm something that you're going through. Journal and journal all those experiences because it will help you with the timeline of where you're going. So then when you have those ethereal experiences in your dreams, then
Mhm.
you can see how to navigate your reality as well. So that is also something, that is very helpful in your journaling.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I
Zion's
want to
audience.
share with,
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
Um, as I was listening, I was quietly downloading um, something for those who are in Christianity. And I know very well that when you are a Christian, when you are in church and you have doubts, one of the emotions that stay with you is that you're not a good enough Christian or that you are not learning or loving God enough because you have doubts. You do not get doubts because of fear or because of attacks. You get doubts because information that comes at you does not click right. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because information that has been received in your ear gate does not sit
Mm-hmm.
down in your heart gate, and you say to yourself, there is something not right about this information. Research it. Do
Mm-hmm.
not be afraid to research information. When
Right.
I was heavily involved in church, I
Mm-hmm.
used to go and research things like the giants, then to
Mm-hmm.
find out all that the giants weren't just the Philistine, right? The giants go back now into a story pre-flood, what that meant, the fall, the Nephilim. When
Mhm.
I researched things, then I found out that they belong to the timeline of Earth's history. Do not be afraid to research information. It does not make you less of a Christian. It actually gives you a purpose, a powerful position called knowledge. In all thy getting, get understanding. It can help strengthen your walk with the divine. But do not ever feel pressured to leave Christianity to take up something you do not know. If Christianity is all that you know, research why you're there and examine your heart into what you are following in Christianity. Are you following the pastor? Or are you following Yeshua? Are you
Mm.
listening to the divine creator, the infinite? Or are you listening to the doctrines of men? If
Mm.
you cannot answer that question with honesty,
Mm-hmm.
then you are following mankind's idea of who the divine is. Never be afraid to question the motives of
Mm-hmm.
those who have given themselves the authority over your life. And
Mm.
always question why you have allowed those motives to overshadow you, the very essence of your being. I don't know who that is for, but whoever it is for,
Mm-hmm.
know and understand that Yeshua HaMashiach was not some person who demanded absolute worship. He expects you to walk each day favorably with mankind. It is written, as far as possible, it is with you. Live in peace with all men. If it's not possible, move on. I mean, she can't get along. As we say in Barbados, we can't set horse.
Mhm.
So if one can't
Mm-hmm.
set horse, move on.
Right. Right.
You can't
Right.
live in peace with that person, move on.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever that was for, it
Mm-hmm.
does not mean that you are a less person because you are doubting the walk that you're having. And for those persons who are having a spiritual walk, as both Empress Aziza and Akura said, this is not a journey that you just do a Usain Bolt and you arrive at. I have been walking this way for 30 something years, researching, reading, gathering information, falling, getting back up, healing, purging, making mistakes, everything building on a foundation that I can sit here and share with you. Don't get caught up in riddles as the source of your spiritual walk. Don't get caught up in following some person because you emulate them to the point where you want to be so much like them that you follow them even down to the edge of that well and fall in. Know thyself.
Well
Hey.
said. You know,
Mm.
s- um,
Yes, yes,
I'm trying me use my words carefully because there are people still attached to Christianity. Jesus never asked anybody to follow him. And when people begin to understand who Jesus really is, they're going to question even more. But I'm not going to go there this evening, right? Jesus never asked anybody to follow him. He came with a simple message: love yourself, love. It was all about love. And if the world can understand that and understand unconditional love, then we would have accomplished everything that Jesus set out for us to accomplish. Unconditional love. That's all. No judgment, no expectation. Give of yourself without expecting something back. Just be who you were in created and intended to be. But the world we have inherited, people give you something to receive something back. They don't give and move on, they give in an expectation. And that's something that the world, once it gets right, will begin to transform even further. But baby steps, baby steps. Yeah,
yes,
baby steps.
yes.
Any more questions for our guests before we wrap it up? I wanted to ask you so much more, Akura, but I don't know if you want to go down that road. We'll be here for a minute. We're probably going to do a part two where we talk about ascending to earth, descending to earth,
Mm-hmm.
in your angelness. Um, we will be here for another hour just talking about that. So we're going to take this to the next level in our next broadcast with you. Yeah.
Yes.
Anything, Zion's daughter, you want to ask before we wrap it up?
Certainly. So, if anyone in our listening audience, any of our wonderful subscribers, they want to be a guest on the show, just drop us an email at sacredwarriormothers@gmail.com, or hit us up on IG at Sacred Warrior Mothers, and let us know, what your interest is, so that you can come in and share with others. And it is only in sharing, it's only in opening up that you can also receive.
Okay, we had one request from Summer. She said that was the stuff she was looking forward to. I guess is referring to coming down to earth from heaven. I don't know if Akura wants to
Oh,
mention any of that. If you want to go in, we're at 7:30. It's
Okay.
up to you guys if you want to share that story. If not, we can wrap it up. The choice is yours. Don't let me take that choice from you.
Okay. You. What is the question again? I'm sorry.
Um, that was the stuff she was looking forward to because I was going to ask you about when your descent from heaven. Let me get the question. Uh, what was the moment that you recognize that you? Where did the question go? You see, now it escaped me. What is your earliest memory of coming to Earth? She says she's not
Hmm.
well,
trying
if
to tell you.
before, okay, so before Akura um, gets deep into it, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go. Tomorrow is my husband's officially his birthday. So I'm actually on the precipice of just preparing a nice surprise for him. I have two birthdays back to back, my husband and my son. And then at the end of the month, we're doing a big thing. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to go, but I would leave you to have this deep discussion with Akura and the rest of the sacred mothers and fathers. So if you don't mind, Akura, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to
Thank
tap
you
out.
so much,
We will
Zion's
connect
daughter.
again. So good night
Please,
to everyone in our lovely subscribers and our sacred WhatsApp members. So see you on the tomorrow.
Peace and blessings. Thank you. Good
You're
night.
welcome. Good night. Good night.
Okay, it's up to you if you want to answer. If not, we can just wrap it up. And
Okay. I also wanted to say that everything that Zion's daughter was saying about coming in and alchemizing the information of being a Christian into the
Mhm.
awakening of the personal spirit, or the personal spirit of the one who's awaking up. There's a lot of information out there to research, but get the one
Yeah,
that feeds your soul and that highly resonates with you, so you
yeah,
don't be caught up with all of the different stuff out
hmm,
there, because you know when we entrust ours with this information, we take them on as babes, and everybody's not going to cradle you. They're just going to give you something and leave you out there, or leave you
yeah,
to figure it out, or just give you something that can further confuse. So if you are resonating here with Sacred Mothers, reach out to us,
that's
because
right.
we're here for the children. And that means
Right.
not just the little children, but the children who are awakening as well. We're
Yes.
here to assist, and
Yeah,
make sure that you are guided in a safe and sacred space and not be taken advantage of.
that's
But
right.
the first moment that I realized that I had descended, or was my first Akashic reading. But prior to that, um, who prior to that, there was a high school moment.
Mm.
um, I was a part of a community choir,
Oh.
and the community choir was a part of the community choir was a part of this the church that was very I guess you would say monumental, or the pastor was monumental in that city, a town.
Hmm.
So I had to sing a song and lead a song there, and as I did, we were all on a collective fast. The choir was, and so I have my own personal prayer for what I needed to do, and as I did, I fasted. I asked my mother to be there that day. And for whatever reason, my mom was ornery that day. She didn't want to come. She was just, I was like, Mama, you really need to be there. Me just coming into my own. I just feel like the Most High's gonna do something today. Mama, you need to come.
Hmm.
So Mama didn't come that day. Well, that was the day that I really truly lost myself in song. And I lost myself so much so that my very best friend was in the audience that day. And I remember starting the song. I remember ending the song. In between the middle, I don't remember anything that happened. But when I came to, because that's what I call it, because I lost consciousness somewhere.
Mm.
Um, everyone was prostrated.
Mm.
My choir was prostrated behind me. The audience, all the people were prostrating, or everybody was on their face. So
Mm.
I look at the piano. I was like, is he standing? In my mind, I'm like, he's still playing? So he's got to be conscious. So we were the only one two that was really knew it, was aware that we were still standing. That was the first time, and there was like a smoke that cleared that room. I had never seen a smoke like that, or fog. And I went home to tell my mama what had happened, and she called it the glory cloud. What is
Mm.
the glory cloud? Here I go with
Mhm.
my dictionary and my books. The glory cloud. So then
Mhm.
later on, years later, they call it the Shekinah. Then later on, they said that the Shekinah is Um, the Shekinah glory, they mentioned she was female.
Mm.
I said, so you mean to tell me that the Holy Ghost, they call it, or the Holy Spirit is female?
Mm.
So you mean to tell me that this Shekinah that y'all been ushering in, this patriarch of this, all of y'all, Jesus, 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 and he ushers in the Shekinah? I said,
Wow.
and the Shekinah is female.
Mm.
I said, okay, so what exactly? So I had to go back and revisit that, you know, that presence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my son, he was about 4 or 5 years old, my oldest. He had contracted a ringworm at the playground at school. By the time we had noticed it, his hair had started to fall out. So it was in his bloodstream, and it means that he could die.
Ooh.
I had no car. I had those cell phones, then you had to pay for minutes, so you couldn't talk on the phone long. If you could talk on the phone a minute, right up until a minute, and then hang up, you would save your money on your phone. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever I had to get out, I had to get out quick because, either I was going to have help or I wasn't going to have help, right? So I didn't have any help. So what I decided to do was to go in my room and shut my door and to get in some affirmative prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So as a woman who cries out for her child, a mother who cries out for her child, that's what I did. And so the feminine energy of the Shekinah visited me and assisted me in that healing and told me that my son would be fine and that, in 3 days, you would not even, his hair will be beginning to grow back and you won't even know this happened.
Mm.
And he has a vague memory of that. So
Wow.
those were some of the instances that let me know that, I really truly wasn't of here in my birth because
Mm-hmm.
my mother said that, my eyes were a different color, they were, she thought she had the wrong baby,
Mm.
literally thought she had the wrong child. And there
Wow.
were things that would happen as a child leading up, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you have parents that know you are different or special, they only know what they know to assist you. They don't everything else. I think that we had to unfold. We had to open up and unfold ourselves and go through that journey somewhat. But those were some of the instances that let me know.
Wow. I know we're gonna tap into this in our next broadcast for sure because I love to hear stories like that because it puts me in the mind of my own self. Just today was talking to my brother and I don't know, somehow I just started asking him about his ability because we all have some level of a knowing. And
Hmm.
he said to me he can slow down time. I was really intrigued now because we never really talked about this stuff. And I was like, huh? I'm standing by my kitchen sink and I'm like, okay, how am I gonna take this? He says he can slow down time. He can walk through the town, and he says he's walking and everybody is in slow motion. And he said he
Hmm.
can go project himself into the future to an event, and then the event happens. He already knows what it is. And I'm like, man, our abilities are truly coming. He said he doesn't dream, but he can project himself. He can
Wow.
see it, go to it, and then come back. He says time just stops for him. And that had me okay. So so I'm gonna dig deeper because in all these years, grow up in this house with this guy, we never once. we never once discussed it. We just knew that our mother gave us these abilities. I was talking to my sister in New York the other day, and I said to her, "Well, how come you never use your abilities?" She says, "It never bothered me." I'm like, you know, shoot, just too much. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up, and I wanted to share. I love to share a quote at the end of every broadcast, and we went a little longer than we thought today. That's because a special person was here with me, right?
Hmm.
Um, right. So Ava DuVernay, she once said, "Ignore the glass ceiling and do your work. If you're focusing on the glass ceiling, focus on what you don't have, focusing on the limitations, then you will be limited." So we're not focusing on the limitations, right? We're not limiting ourselves.
Right.
So again, if you guys are interested in receiving the Journey to Me 21 Days of Inner Healing, you can request that for free. Sacred Warrior Mothers, we don't really charge for our information, because we really invested in the healing of the people. Doesn't matter if you're in the Caribbean or in America, we really investing in you. The information is in the description box where you can email us, as Zion's daughter was saying. You can email us to get that copy and tell us why you're emailing. Don't just send a blank email. Just tell us why you're emailing, and we will send that out to you free of charge. Okay, because we are investing in you. So once again, I want to thank you, Empress Akura, for visiting us, and to see you stepping out of your shell, and you can't go back now. This is forward ever. Forward movements, right? And thanks for the
Yes.
audience for joining us and being a part, with this broadcast. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, guys. Peace and
Thank you.
blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Bye, y'all.